There are a lot of words that can describe how 2024 has been for me, but if I had to pick one word that I think describes the whole year, it would absolutely be eventful. This year has just been so much in every aspect. There's been a lot of good, there's definitely been a lot of bad, and overall it's just been so much. I really wanted to just like come on here and make a video talking about how this year has been for me and of course what it means for the future of my channel. I know most people don't really like watching these kinds of videos. I know it probably won't get many views. That's okay. That's not what I'm making it for. I'm making it for the people who watch my channel and actually see me as someone like they want to know what's going on. The people who care about me. A deep dive, if you will, into my life for the past year. So I guess we should start with the thing that I guess you guys are most curious about, and that's of course what's been going on lately with me and G. This year's been nothing short of terrible for me and GD. There's really no other way of putting it. The release of 2.2 single-handedly struck down my skill and potential and set me back years. Just as I was getting into what could have been like my prime in GD, it came out and just fucked that over. The end of 2023 was the best I've ever been at GD. I beat Slaughterhouse, I beat Limbo. I was actually feeling really, really good. I was feeling amazing about my GD skill. And then it just threw it all out the window. I'm done trying to sugarcoat this. I've said it many times, and I've been trying to like avoid saying it like this, because I know a lot of people don't like to hear when I say things like this, but the release of 2.2 was terrible. It did very little good for the game. Overall, it was just bad. I'm not really saying the update itself was bad. The update itself added a lot of really cool stuff, and it could have been really good for the game. But the release of it was really bad. The timing of the release and what was done after the release, nothing was done to fix the problems that were created from it, the issues that were never addressed. That all was just, it piled on and it made the release of the update just something that didn't end up being good for the game. It didn't end up being good for me. It's not like I didn't do anything this year. I had a few decent achievements like Aerial Gleam, Cosmic Cyclone, but overall I barely was able to do anything in GD this year, and 2.2 wasn't the main cause of that, but it was a big part of it. And it's worth mentioning. My motivation for the game has been at all-time lows throughout the year, as is probably evident. And to be honest, I'm not sure if it'll be back, I'm not sure it'll ever be back to the way it was. But in fairness, I have felt that way before, and, you know, months later I beat Slaughterhouse, so I can't really say for sure, but it does feel worse. I do have some plans for the future, and I'll talk about that more later. I have no idea which of those plans will actually end up panning out, and I'll go through with them, but only time will tell for that. So I'm not quitting the game. I don't plan on quitting the game, fully quitting the game anytime soon. I'm just not in the state that I was, and I don't know if I ever will be. Also, if you couldn't tell, by the way, this section of the video is mostly talking about my current state as a GD player and like how I've been with my motivation to play the game and stuff like that. I figured since it was a massive topic all on its own that I should probably just save a completely different section of the video to talk about the state. As I said before, the release of 2.2 was a net negative for the game, and that can the same can absolutely be said for the community. The GD community has never really been amazing, but the release of 2.2 sent it on a downward spiral, the likes of which even we've never seen. Obviously, the biggest thing that people talked about since the update came out is the physics changes, and I genuinely can't believe how bad those arguments got. I don't know why people get so mad over these things. And I'm not trying to say I'm not guilty for that. I got pretty mad over it too. Just because I don't like something doesn't mean I wasn't a part of it. I'm not saying I'm not guilty of it, but it all could have been super easily avoided and stopped. I tried my best to help get there, to get to a point where it can be stopped and people can come to an agreement, come to a compromise. But eventually I just couldn't anymore and I just gave up. And now I've just been sitting and watching as this community burns down over this. And of course, that's not the only issue we've had. Far from it, actually. There's, of course, the issue of the constant exposals that happen in this community. That's an entirely separate issue. The way I see it, there's two types of exposals that happen in this community. One is, of course, the exposals on people who actually deserve it in this community and deserve to, you know, once they're exposed, like, yeah, we should get them out of the community. They should be banned or at least take a leave until they learn like what they did wrong and learn from it. Except most of the time that doesn't even end up working, and people end up just, if people play their cards right, people who have been exposed for pretty terrible things have gotten completely away with it and are just respected in the community again. And the other type of exposal, of course, is those random Twitter exposals on people who don't deserve it, created by people who are just hungry for drama, try to make a huge deal out of something that in the grand scheme of things really doesn't matter, or they'll make something up that would matter if it was true, but it's not actually true, and then they just try to ruin this person's life, get everyone to hate them before they have a chance to prove it wrong. And both of these types of exposals, of course, negatively affect the community a lot. And they're part of what makes me so upset. Like, sometimes they genuinely make me so upset that I want to, like, punch my monitor. In both cases, because when an exposal happens on someone that should be exposed, someone who's actually done terrible things, it's usually on someone who I respected in the community, someone who I looked up to. It's hard to even want to look up or idolize anyone in the community anymore, because 80% of the people that I used to look up to in this community got exposed for diddling kids. And the other type of exposal pisses me off too. When people make exposals like that don't actually have any grounds, it makes it harder for people to take the actual exposals seriously. And it usually happens to people who don't deserve it. I won't say any names, of course, but two of these types of exposals that happened recently happened to people that I know. One of which is actually a really close friend of mine. And for the other, I watched as people gathered around to start hating someone who I knew and was part of a friend group that I was part of, before that person even had a chance to respond or refute anything that was said, and it turned out none of it was true. People are so hungry for drama that they won't even stop to consider. This stuff really pisses me off. It's gotten so bad, man. I can't look at GD Twitter for 5 seconds without seeing people trying to start shit. It's not even always exposals. People start drama over the dumbest things. I know a lot of that is just Twitter being Twitter. It's less the GD community, more just the fact that it's over on Twitter. But, like, come on, guys. We can do better. It's hard to quit using Twitter for someone like me because Twitter is, like, my number one source of, like, GD news and stuff that's going on. And I also use Twitter a lot. I use private accounts as spaces to, like, vent my issues and mental health stuff. I'll talk more about my mental health in a little bit. That's what I'm going to talk about next. But having Twitter and having those private spaces to vent those things helps a lot. So it's difficult for someone like me to quit Twitter because it would both positively and negatively affect me mentally. Point is, I wish I could just stop using Twitter forever because it's so bad, but it's very difficult. So until that happens, I've got to watch this community fight and fight and fight more and fight over nothing. Keep fighting over anything we can think of to fight about. Stuff about the game itself, exposals, levels, anything. And it's difficult not to get involved in those things too for me. So oftentimes I have to be part of the people that are fighting, and it would make me look hypocritical saying stuff like this. And I very much could be hypocritical. Yes, I've contributed to these things. Doesn't mean I like them. If I could flip a switch and make everything stop, I would. Point is, this community sucks. It's done good things, but it sucks now. It was bad before 2.2, but 2.2 made it so much worse. And unfortunately, in all seriousness, it's probably going to get even worse from here. We're not on a path for things to get better. I mean, Twitter is going to be Twitter, and nowadays there's no such thing as good times there. So I guess that's also a perfect segue into me talking about my
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
Last year was pretty bad for me mental health wise, and this year started off way better. Like, things were starting to get better. But as we got closer to the end, I'd say I'm at a worse state now than I was. And this is mainly just because I have a lot of things that are currently causing stress in my life. GD, my lack of being able to do anything in GD, and the community, everything I talked about in that last segment. My friends, there's been some personal issues in my friend groups and stuff, and I've also had to deal with problems stemming from old friends. Twitter, as I said, is always terrible for my mental health, even if it's not just GD Twitter. And I'm not going to get into politics at all in this video, but the fact that 2024 was an election year, that definitely made things worse as well because of all the political stuff that had to happen because of it. And there's just so much hate now. Everyone's so hateful. No matter where you go, no matter who you are, no matter what space you're in, there's going to be people that want to make it as clear as possible that they hate you. It's mentally taxing. It's hard to just ignore it. As much as people say, oh, just ignore the people who don't like you. It's difficult sometimes, because sometimes things people say, they hurt. Also, this school year, which is my senior year actually in high school, has been the hardest year for sure. Definitely, with no doubt, the hardest school year. Had the most work I've ever had to do, the hardest work I've ever had to do. College apps were, of course, a big part of it. And I've been working on trying to talk more to people in real life, have some more IRL friends, which for me is somewhat difficult because I have to build up better social skills, so that can get stressful as well. My channel, as you guys can definitely tell, it's been really inactive lately, and that stems directly from me not being able to do anything in GD, because when I don't beat anything in GD, I don't have anything to upload. It's very stressful for me to look at how much my channel's been declining recently, because like it was just on the biggest rise it ever was over the last year or two. It was on a massive rise, and then 2.2 came out and it just stopped because I wasn't able to do anything really. It feels like I've hit a wall because I can't do anything in GD anymore. As I said before, I have plans for the future, and I promise I'll talk about them in a little bit, but I can't guarantee any of it will actually pan out. It's so much harder to maintain a YouTube channel like mine than it seems. Like, it probably doesn't seem that hard to someone just watching, but it's difficult, man. Oh yeah, also, I'm not going to get into any details of this because that's really personal, but I've also had to deal with relationship stuff this year as well. That's something I've never had to deal with before this year. And yeah, that definitely makes things harder. I'm currently enjoying my Christmas break. And by enjoying, I mean I'm laying on that bed over there doing nothing for like 90% of every day so far. Which honestly isn't really helping, because when I do that, I feel like I'm just wasting a ton of time that could be spent doing other stuff. But I'm trying to give myself a break after the craziness that was the last few months. All of this is to say, I'm having a hard time. Life has not been kind to me lately. I didn't even mention everything that's been going on because, you know, there's so much. I could sit here talking about it for hours, and it gets even more personal than that. I don't want to get super personal on here. Just know there's more. I really hope that 2025 will be the year that my mental health starts to pick up, because the last two have been terrible. And as I said before, my experiences in GD lately have also been a big part of why my mental health's been declining, because GD was such a constant factor in my life for so long. It's a big deal that it's starting to decline. I have very little plans for my actual future. Like, for the longest time, GD was the one thing in my life that made sense. Playing GD, meeting people in the community, these were things I knew and that I understood. I'm starting to lose both of those things. It's a big deal to me. It's sad. And it has been making my life a lot harder, the fact that I've been losing that aspect of it, because I'm losing like the one thing that really made sense to me, and I don't know what to do with myself. Anyway, that's point is, it's difficult, and my mental health just simply hasn't been great lately. So if you've been wondering about that, there you go. Now, here's the thing with GD. I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't have any plans. I do have some plans, and I want to let you know about them, because if I fail to follow through on these plans, at least you guys know that I tried and that I've been trying. As I made relatively obvious a little bit ago, I have been working on Anathema pretty much since it came out. Haven't played it a ton as of late, but I do plan on beating it as a new artist, though I have no idea how long that will take, so I wouldn't count on that coming anytime soon. Just know that that's the thing I will be working on. As of right now, the main level I've been working on is actually a level by my friend Nexel. Go subscribe to them because they're awesome. It's called Collapse. And it was rated actually like a day after it was verified, which was wild. I'm very proud of them. They did a really good job with that level. I was following it basically from the moment that they started working on it, and it turned out amazing, so I'm very proud of them for that. I also plan to beat that, and that's the level I've been working on for the past few days. I also have a few other levels I've been working on that you guys probably know about that I was working on earlier this year. Mainly Kyuki, which I actually did post a video about, and Cockmuck actually, which if you've only watched my channel, you probably didn't even know that I was working on that. I was posting pretty consistent updates about that in my Discord server a few months ago. By the way, if you're not in my Discord server, join it. If you want more regular updates from me about what's going on and what levels I'm working on, join my Discord server. So I definitely have a few things I have been working on. Another thing I've been trying to do is start uploading more stuff that isn't GD, because I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to be good at GD and make GD videos, so I want to branch out while I can. A couple weeks ago, I uploaded a Fortnite video when Fortnite OG came out. Didn't get a lot of views, but I like that video, and I probably will make more of videos like that in the future. Might upload some of them to my other channels. I'm not 100% sure. Speaking of my other channels, I've also been trying to revive my cubing channel. I haven't uploaded anything in a few months, but I'm currently working on some stuff to possibly bring that back. I also have some plans to make some videos about some games from a certain franchise that I used to be pretty obsessed with. If those videos come out, trust me, they will be bangers. Now, all this being said, I can't promise any of it can actually happen. I'm done making these empty promises to you guys about stuff that will be coming. I just want to let you guys know that I'm trying. I'm doing my best, and that's not always enough. If it turns out I can't do any of it, then I guess the only thing I can promise you is that I'll upload more mashups. You guys seem to love those, which is very funny because they're kind of lazy, low effort content, but if you guys like them, then I'll keep doing them. I don't know. That's kind of about it though, when it comes to my plans. All in all, this year has been absolutely crazy. So much has happened, so much has changed. I've really only scratched the surface in this video. I've been recording for 27 minutes and I could sit here talking for like 8 times this long about stuff that happened this year. But you guys don't want that. As I said, I'll be working on some new content for you guys. Hopefully that can come out soon. Like I said, I can't promise anything. If you watch this video all the way to the end, thank you so much. I love you. You're a real one. It's always nice to just sit and talk it out. So you're a real one if you made it all the way to the end listening to me yap. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Use code AidenTR in the Fortnite item shop, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!